Good morning. This is Course 2. This is Lesson 11. And so you get out your notebook and you're going to take some notes. So the first thing you want to write down is Lesson 11, problems about combining and problems about separating. And we will get started. All right, I'm going to read to you and then have you write some stuff down. I'll tell you what to write. So in this lesson, we're going to solve one-step word problems by writing and solving equations. To write an equation, it's helpful to understand the plot of a word problem. Problems with the same plot can be modeled with the same equation or formula. In this lesson, we're going to talk about two common plots. So the first common idea in word problems is combining. So write down combining as a plot. A word problem plot called combining. And here is an example. So you want to write this down. Albert has $12, Betty has $15. Together they have $27. This is a problem about combining because it has an addition pattern. And you want to write this down. Sum plus some more equals the total. And we can write that as an equation using letters. S for sum, M plus more equals the total. Okay, so there are three numbers in this description. One of them is the unknown. So we're going to write an equation for a problem, and then we're going to solve for the unknown number. So let's see an example. All right, example number 1. You want to write this problem down in your notes. There's 4 examples today. There's going to be 2 on the combining plot. In the morning, the trip odometer in Mr. Chin's car read 47 miles. At the end of the day, it read 114 miles. How many miles did he drive that day? So you should be able to recognize that this problem has an addition pattern. Mr. Chin drove some miles and then he drove some more. So sum plus more equals the total. So our plan is we're going to write an equation. So notice that we're using and I want you to notice this, we're using the 4-step problem solving model that we talked about at the beginning. So to understand the problem, we want to write down what we know about the problem, and that is that Mr. Chin drove some miles and then he drove some more. And the plan is that we're going to write an equation. Okay, it said the trip odometer read 47 and then he drove some more miles and then there was a total of 114 miles. So that's the plan. Now to solve it, we're going to find we need to find M, which means we're going to subtract 114 minus 47, and we do that and we get 67. So 67 was what more miles that he drove, and then we check it by adding these two together to get 114. So I want you to show the 4-step problem solving process for the problem. All right, let's do another combining plot. Okay. Example 2. The first scout troop encamped in the ravine. They went camping in the ravine. A second troop of 137 scouts joined them, making a total of 312 scouts. How many scouts were in the first troop? We should recognize that this problem is also about combining because it talks about making a total. So that's your key word. All right, so let's see the solution to this. All right, we recognize this problem is about combining. So there were some scouts, and then there were some more scouts that came. So we're going to use the addition formula. So that's part of understand. So write down understand, and then this stuff. All right, then plan is we can solve it by writing an equation. So our equation, again, is sum plus more equals the total. So we don't know what the beginning amount was, the first troop, but we know that we added 137 and there was 312 altogether. So to solve it, we are going to subtract 312 minus 137, and then we'll find that the first troop had 175 people in it. And then you can check by adding those two together. So I need to see the understand, the plan, the solve, and the check for the problem. All right, now that's combining. Now we're going to talk about another plot, word problem plot, and write an equation for it. All right, these are problems about separating. So we want to write down problems about separating, a separating plot. Separating another common idea in word problems is separating an amount into two parts. It usually involves giving something that goes away, or something, going away. So let's look at this example and write it down. Mr. Smith wrote a check to Mr. Rodriguez for $37.50. If $824 was available in Mr. Smith's account before he wrote the check, how much was available after he gave the check to Mr. Rodriguez? So he's giving something away. So this is a separating plot, which is subtraction thought pattern. So usually you have a beginning amount, then some went away, and then you get what remains. So B stands for beginning amount, A for something that went away, and R for what is left or what remains. All right, so we're going to have word problems about separating. Let's see 2 examples. All right, Tim baked 4 dozen muffins. He made a platter with some of the muffins and gave them away to the school. So that's your key word. He gave some away. That means this is a separating plot. He had 32 muffins left when he packed the freezer bags to store in the freezer. How many did he give away? So write this problem down, and we need to know that this is separating because you're giving something away, and then we're going to use the problem-solving process to solve. So write that down, and now we're going to do the solution. So understand the problem. We understand that this is separating, so we're going to use a subtraction formula. Our plan is that we're going to write an equation, and we had a beginning amount. We're going to put a beginning amount of 48 because that was 4 dozen, and 4 times 12 is a dozen. Then we don't know how much he gave away, but we know he had 32 left. That's the remaining. In order for us to solve for A, we actually have to solve this now and subtract 48 minus 32 to get 16. Then we check it by subtracting again to verify. So now we review the question and write the answer, or you can add to check. And 16 muffins was the answer. All right, let's do one more. Okay, example 4. The room was full of boxes when Sharon began. Then she shipped out 58 boxes, so that should be a clue. She shipped out, that means she gave them away. And then she only has 88 boxes left. So how many boxes were in the room when Sharon began? So we know that this is a separating problem. We just have to fill in our formula with these numbers. All right, so let's look at our solution. So we recognize that our understanding part, so write that down, understanding, that this is a separating problem, and we had some boxes, and then we shipped some away. Okay, and then we know how much is left. So we write an equation, and we're going to let B stand for the number of boxes when we began. So this is what the starting amount was. We don't know what that was. We know that she shipped away 56, and we know that there were 88 left. So in order to find, so that's the plan. Now we're going to solve that. In order to solve it, we actually have to add the 56 and the 88 back together to get the beginning amount of 144. And then we can check it by subtracting. So we know that the answer is 144, and we've done our 4-step problem-solving process. So you should have learned about combining plots, and you should have learned about separating plots, and then we want you to use the 4-step problem-solving process to write equations and solve the problems. All right, that's it for today. Have a good day.